Good evening, good evening. So it's been a bit of a gap here. Basically been waiting for the dust to settle on some of the partial rough overview stuff they gave for organized play for 2023 a couple of weeks ago. Kind of thought they'd fill in faster than they kind of did, but we finally got some added details just late this past week. So, let's go through where we stand right now. First and foremost, unrelated to anything organized play-based, we did get a little bit of a snippet. It looks like Asmodee has done it again, has released some images out of the wild before Jessica was ready for them, and we've seen the sort of the back of the DLC packaging, which is better than seeing the entire DLC previewed, like we kind of did last time. So what we found out from this was that the 4 characters in this DLC are going to be the 3 on the cover. That's Deku, Bakugo, and Todoroki, as well as Eraserhead is going to be a 4th character in this Chibi DLC. So I'll be interested to see what those are like. I'm kind of interested to see like attack art for like Chibi Deku punching somebody or something. It's going to be kind of funky. I wonder if they have enough. I guess they must have enough Chibis to do this, right? But anyway, moving on to the RLE stuff. So the Season 1 RLE, we got some more details, some prizing details specifically. They're using Vial Seizing as their champion card, contender card, and playmat. Makes sense. It's one of the most hyped cards from set 4. And the contender cards, very notably, are going to be going out to the entire top 8 this time. So it's not just a second place card, it's going to be an entire top 8 card, which is pretty good. The thing they're trying to solve for here is they don't have the RLE point system anymore. You cannot qualify for the HLC via RLEs like you could last year. So they're trying to find a way to still have compelling prizing all the way up the ladder. And extending the contender cards down to the whole top 8 is a good step. That's going to really make, getting into that top 8 feel, pretty meaningful. You got that special pretty rare promo that looks really sick. Somebody out there is going to try to get 4 contender Vial Seizings and put them all in the deck, and you're gonna be really, really showing off there. As for the RLE promos themselves, the broader RLE promos, they are doing 4 of them this time, and they're gonna be more chibi art. They're gonna be villain chibi art as opposed to some of the student and hero chibi art in the DLC. And they're not just doing, you get one random RLE promo this time. They've split them up into different levels and different rarities. So there's going to be 2 that you get for participation that are going to be relatively affordable on the prize wall to get more copies of. So you get 1 of each participation promo, and if you want more, you can play in side events or otherwise earn points and spend them on the prize wall. And then there's the 3rd promo is going to be on the prize wall for a higher price and also given out to the top 64. And then there's the 4th promo is top 32 exclusive. You will only be able to get them by hitting the top 32 in a regional. When it shakes out, because it might feel like you're getting kind of less promos, but it's also a smaller pool. And notably, there's twice as many regionals this year. There's going to be 6 per season instead of 3 that there were last year. So, when you shake out the math in terms of overall global card availability, there's going to be a lot more of these participation RLE promos than there were of, say, the Season 3 RLE promos last year. It's going to be more than double the amount sort of out and about in the wild floating around. The top 64 should come out to be around the same number. It kind of depends on how many people buy with their points, pretty much. And then the top 32s, there's going to be around half of them. Just guesstimating event attendance numbers and things like that. So, kind of a little bit less per event, maybe more depending on how the prize wall shakes out. They did give some points totals for the prize wall, so this is mostly participation based. You can get more points by winning rounds in the side events, but really the main thing is that you're playing in them. The baseline for playing through one side event is you could redeem all of your points even if you go 0-3 for a top 64 promo, for instance, or like 2.5 participation promos or something like that. So pretty generous. They want to have, I think they said they want to have 3 or at least 3 side events per regional. We don't have full details on their timing or anything like that. Yeah, it looks like a reasonably good system. The chibis aren't the most widely popular thing. There are definitely some people who just don't care about chibis, so I wouldn't be surprised if these RLE cards are in relatively lower demand than they probably would be otherwise if they were, the kinds of arts that we had last year. it'll be an interesting field test to see how this new structure works out. I think it has a chance to go pretty well, give or take some fine details. Nestled into this RLE post, they are changing the Oceania RLE to webcam, so it was scheduled to be an in-person event. It sounds like they kind of tried to pull the players out there, and the players kind of just preferred a webcam event. I'm not sure how difficult travel is, from New Zealand to Australia to, Malaysia, Philippines, whatnot. Maybe that's just a big royal pain in the neck, so they just decided to go with a webcam event instead. That does mean that, especially in North America, people around the world are going to be able to play in this webcam event, right? For EST, for the Eastern time zone, it's going to start on a Friday night around 7 p.m. I'm not sure about this because of daylight savings time math, and I think daylight savings time actually swaps over in Oceania on that weekend. So a little shifty, but somewhere around there. It's going to be like 5, 6, 7 p.m. or something like that in terms of an Eastern start time. What they're going to do, they don't really want the Oceania players to feel super punished for going to webcams, so they're not going to hand out Nationals invites to non-Oceanic players here, so the top 16 or maybe 32 if the event's big enough, but probably the top 16 Oceania players from this event will get Nationals invites. But other than the Nats invites themselves, all the other prize support is open game for anybody who does however well they do at the event. Notably, Plus Ultra cards are going to be legal for this event. We've got some confirmation on that, and this is despite the fact that they are keeping the Plus Ultra redemption embargo, the online embargo, in place. There's going to be no in-person events before this. This obviously is not in-person event itself, so all their sort of escape hatches for how people were going to get Plus Ultra cards for their competitive decks are all shut off, and it's going to be a bit of a mess. It's going to be kind of open season for secondary market sellers to get, huge returns on selling things that they're not supposed to be selling, and people trying to figure out various ways to work connections or see what they can get out of different outlets to, maybe get more packs than they're theoretically supposed to be able to, or whatnot. So look forward to that being a mess unless they change something about it between now and then. But yeah, so no further real explanation about why they haven't, sort of caved on this embargo. Nobody's happy with it. There's not any rational explanation that stands up to any amount of inspection, but they're just sticking to their guns on this, and we'll see if it holds up. On better news on the local front, we did get an article about the Season 1 Provisionals, the Provisional Store Championships, and an application form for applying to those. They did clarify stores can get multiple Provisionals per season, but it's going to be kind of subject. They want to have a maximum-ish of 200 in North America and 100 each in Europe and Oceania. So for an NA store especially, it's sort of going to depend on how many apply and how many different stores ask for in terms of how many a given store actually gets. They could get as many as 3. Just thinking about the number of stores, that will most stores will get 1 or 2. But also mixed into this article, kind of stuck in there, not really called out that much, is that the provisional promos are going to be legal sooner. So last year, towards the end of the year, they made the change where provisional promos weren't legal until the end of the season. Now they're going to be legal 60 days in. They're going to be subject to that same embargo as the Plus Ultra promos. But while the Plus Ultra promos are going to be immediately legal, the provisional ones will wait until that embargo is over. And one last thing about the provisionals is that the number of Nationals invites they hand out is going to scale on attendance. So if you get more than 16 people, you get a second invite. If you get more than 32, you go up to 4 invites for your event. So this way stores don't have to feel like they have to try to, keep their event contained to their locals so that their guys have the best shot or whatever. If you can advertise your provisional store championship and get 40 people to come, that's kind of just better for all involved. So that's nice to see. There won't be any weirdness around that. There's a little bit of unclarity about how the prize kits for these things are going to be sent out. There's some stuff in the article about if you get more than expected, you can combine your prize kits if you have multiple events you're approved, but that doesn't help if someone only has one event approved. And you know, so some questions in the Discord, they said, you know, they would send, even if you're approved for one event, they'll try to send you enough to handle, you know, a decent sized event and not just one kit. But if you're a store signing up for these, make sure you get a lot of clarity about how many kits they're sending and make sure it matches your expectations for attendance, basically. Just make sure you do your due diligence on that so you don't just get stuck with, you know, one kit and 40 people showing up, because each kit only handles 16 people. But yeah, that should do it for all of this organized play news. I'm not sure what to expect in the coming week or two in terms of any further news. They're probably just going to keep the previews rolling. We might see maybe the DLCs next, maybe the provisional promos we haven't seen yet, maybe those are next. Maybe they'll start talking about those reunion packs. Maybe they'll just chill until the pre-release hits it and then, you know, do a bunch more. They've been putting a lot of pictures of stores doing sealed events on Facebook, so I assume we'll keep seeing those. They've also been putting out the HLC player little mini interviews that they did that they use on that stream to fill time in between matches and whatnot. They've been sort of slowly putting those out through Facebook so they don't completely spam people. So they're doing, you know, a lot of good stuff on the socials for this. Some on Twitter as well, and you know, the sort of important bits end up in Discord. They don't put absolutely everything in their Discord right now. It's very Facebook based at the moment, but you know, so if you're not on Facebook regularly, you know, just try to check in every so often to see what the Jasco page is doing, because that's where they put a lot of their stuff right now, as well as slipping articles onto their website with or without any announcement. Sometimes something just shows up there and it's just like, oh, they posted this article. But yeah, so, you know, stay tuned for, you know, if we get a lot of news, I'll do another news video. If not, I'll probably, you know, there's certainly more tips videos and some other things I want to do that I keep telling myself I'm going to do and kind of procrastinating on, but got a nice 3-day weekend. Hopefully I'll record something or other. So yeah, stay tuned for now and have a good night.